This is the Washington Times front page for Monday, May 22nd, 2023. Thanks for starting your week with us. I'm George Gerbo. President Biden is threatening to invoke the 14th Amendment to circumvent Republicans on the debt ceiling less than 2 weeks before the government is projected to default on its bills. Harris Alec and Ramsey Touchberry report the president told reporters at the G7 summit in Japan that his administration was exploring whether it could invoke the amendment as debt negotiations with Republicans sour. Biden will meet with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy on Monday. The 14th Amendment declares the validity of the national debt shall not be questioned. Passed after the Civil War, some legal scholars say the amendment is broader and gives the president authority to scrap the limit and keep paying the nation's bills without a ceiling imposed by Congress. Staying on the Hill, the House will vote this week on a bill that will permanently place every form of illicit fentanyl on the most restrictive list of drugs. Tom Howe reports the HALT Fentanyl Act would keep fentanyl-related substances on the Schedule I list of drugs when temporary scheduling authority expires at the end of 2024. The bill comes up for a vote on Thursday. Experts say permanent scheduling would result in more efficient prosecutions, stiffer penalties, and send a signal to China and Mexico that the U.S. is serious about tackling the fentanyl problem as it pressures those nations to do more. The House National Resources Committee says the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is focusing much of its time and money working on social change instead of the outdoors. Stephen Dinan reports the committee aimed particularly at the consultant whom the Fish and Wildlife Service hired to lead its values journey. That is an attempt to infuse the agency's operations with social justice principles. The letter from the committee's Republicans follows an inquiry about the Fish and Wildlife Service's eco-grief training. The training involves sessions for employees to grapple with trauma or a sense of loss stemming from climate change or other environmental changes. Defense industry leaders at the recent Special Operations Forces Week conference pointed to the war in Ukraine as proof why their drone defense products are vital. Ben Wolfgang reports insiders say the sector is in constant flux, with adversaries such as Russia and China developing capabilities to beat defensive programs, and the U.S. and its allies adjusting their approaches to overcome those responses. Ukrainian forces have made great use of American-made and Turkish drones throughout its war against Russia, but manufacturers say they've had to make on-the-fly tweaks to their products in response to Russian moves. And finally, Susan Ferricchio takes a look into some of the details in Special Counsel John Durham's report into the FBI's investigation of ties between the Trump campaign and Russia. Durham said FBI agents were so eager to pursue Trump, both as a candidate and then as president, that they heralded seriously flawed information and abandoned their own principles regarding objectivity and integrity. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Washington Times in any major podcast app. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.